Yeah, the call wild's always bringing me home. Call wild's always bringing me home. Call wild's always bringing me home.
Perfect. All right, well, hello, wild ones. Welcome to hello, wild ones. Welcome to another episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I am so excited to have Stephanie Ann Boyd with me today. She is a composer, and I'm really excited to chat with her and to tell you guys her story and what she's been working on. So, Stephanie, thanks so much for making the time to come on.
My absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So let's start first off, how did you get into music and how did you get into the path of wanting to compose your own music?
Okay, so it's actually a really special a special story. I guess, I mean, they're always special stories, but my grandmother was the first composer I knew, and that's
Wow.
the thing that's very a very rare thing for a millennial person to be able to say. And she was the youngest of six children of farmers growing up in the Dust Bowl in Missouri, and hopped up onto the piano at age 4, started playing like 4-part harmony, and all of her older sisters were music teachers by that time. So we know that all these wild things happened, and she's just this incredible like jazz piano prodigy who did not have any resources whatsoever. So she had like
Wow.
an audience of one. I mean, she faked her way through music school just based on her ear because she didn't learn how to read music, but could play anything. And yeah, and then got married, had my dad, and yeah, essentially had an audience of one for most of her life, which was just her husband. And
Wow.
so when I was born, she and my grandparents were sort of our uh, main babysitters, and so I'd see them very often, and I was just expected to be able to play my little violin along with my grandmother on any piece, her pieces, or other pieces that she liked to play. We would be improvising in the style of different composers, like Bach and like Handel when I was like
Wow.
10. So, but I didn't really understand how special that was until like every semester of college, like music school, I'd come home and be like, "Oh my God, Grandma, you're doing this." So, um, so that I guess is a really good story about why representation matters, because there was never any sort of friction in my decision to become a composer, because I
Mm.
mean, and there are, I mean, I feel like I'm still really in the first generation of composers where um like women make up at least 50%. I mean,
Wow.
in undergrad it was me and 11 guys.
Wow.
Um and uh and so yes, that's how it started, and I it just fell madly, like as soon as I was playing in orchestra, like 4th grade, uh, played the Telemann Sinfonia, and it was all over from there. I was obsessed, absolutely obsessed, and I'm sort of like a Goosebumps junkie. Like
Yeah.
that's my favorite thing, and even to this day, I say like if the audience doesn't get goosebumps, I haven't done my job. Like that's what I
Mm.
want to happen. Like I want the goosebumps and the tears, because that's what I'm here to help you through, you know.
Yeah, it's so powerful, right? How music can really just move through us, right? And there is something really powerful about listening to something, and how even I think even more special when you go and see like a symphony, right? Like there's so much emotion behind each of the instruments and everything like that. So yeah, and I love the story of your grandma. Like how special is that you kind of were able to do something that she probably always wanted to do, and kind of combine that together. So I love that that
Yeah.
was your start.
Yeah. It was really, it was really, really, and she just passed away last year, but for the last like 10 years of
Oh.
her life, I called her every single evening to help her like vicariously get the career that she never could. So I got to call her from all these
Mm.
cool places, and yeah. So Yeah, so
Oh, that's
special.
really beautiful and special. And I'm sorry for your loss because, obviously I can tell how special she was to you, but I'm sure that she's so proud of you and everything that you're doing as well.
Well, thank you. Well, um I basically had like my three main mentors from the last 10 years all pass away like by last year, and I'm like, you know what?
Um,
I bet my life's going to get really good now because they're all going to be helping me from the other side now. So like, and
I
sure enough,
love
it
that.
has. It has. So
Good. I
yeah.
really love that. I think it's important, right? Because, I've had a couple of episodes where we're kind of focusing on grief. And I think that one of the biggest things is making sure that we're bringing them into our lives and like moving forward, that they're always with us and all the connections and lessons that like we have and memories that we have from them, they can still live us within our day-to-day lives, even now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I agree 100%. And
Yeah.
and what you said about what audience like music moving through us, what I've started really loving too, when you think about like everybody on stage, every time you see an orchestra on stage, that's literally a forest on stage because each one of those string instruments and many of the woodwinds, they're all made of wood from different trees. So we literally have like the UN of forests on stage, a whole forest on stage
Wow.
every time you're there. Yeah.
That's so cool. And I would love to kind of get into how we connected, which I think is really special. And I'm so honored and excited to be able to come and experience this in person. So maybe if you want to just like start with like how the idea came
Yeah.
about, and then the audience will kind of listen to how you how you came up with
Sounds
that.
sounds
Yeah.
good. So this big concert happening on Sunday is a performance of Carnival of the Nearly Extinct Animals, with the premiere of a new movement specifically for the red wolf. And this idea sort of like literally fell into my brain in 2021, and um, fellow creators will understand that there are many ideas that we come to sort of on our own, but when an idea comes to us like fully formed, it's sort of a you're gonna get haunted by it until you do it. Like that's an assignment.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, it's 2021. We're still and I'm in New York City, so like I hadn't been outside in like a few weeks. I'm like, okay, it's not time yet, and I don't think the world is quite ready for this yet. And I was about to have two big orchestra piece premieres, and so I'm like, okay, let me wait until that is done, and then I'll like come back to this. But the idea essentially is to take the structure of Camille Saint-Saëns' Carnival of the Animals from 100 years ago.
Mhm.
And this piece is 14 movements. It introduces you to 13 different animals, and orchestras play this piece like every few years, especially for their young people's concerts. And I remember meeting some of those animals for the first time in the abstract through that music. So like the elephant
Wow.
uh, and fish. Like there's this gorgeous movement, the aquarium movement, that just blew my mind. Like from the first time I heard it, just the way that he was able to make uh, sound so magical and eerie. And so I'm like, you know what? It would be a really special thing to be able to introduce folks to some nearly extinct animals or even extinct animals uh, through music, even
Mhm.
before, hopefully before, they actually lose their chance to actually meet these folks in person. And, we think just had a historic election yesterday in New York City.
Yes.
But I, I've been thinking, okay, political ads, well, okay, music is distilled emotion. That's what I think. Music is distilled
Mhm.
emotion. And so as a composer, you have a crazy responsibility to use that power responsibly. And because
Mhm.
you can make the audience feel any sort of emotion, technically
Right.
speaking. And people spend so much money making these 30-second political ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with this piece, I have 30 minutes.
Mm.
So when you think about it, like I have you in sitting in the audience, and I can take you to so many different worlds, and I can take you to such a broad spectrum of emotions and introduce you to different species. I mean, literally, the on the premiere weekend of Carnival. So this was two performances with the Bozeman Symphony and a performance with the Blue Shift Collective at the Chicago Flute Club.
Mm.
The the resonance of the blue whale went through 2,500 bodies. Like 2,500
Wow.
people's bodies resonated with their pitch that they sing to each other.
That's really special
Like, isn't
and
that cool?
very cool. And I've also heard, I forget who the video was, but I saw on Instagram that there was a video about somebody who there was a couple divers going in the water and they felt the vibration from, I forget what kind of whale it was. Maybe it was a humpback or maybe it was a blue whale, but like they felt the vibration in the water and like they had to come up for air. So just coming back. But what was really cool is that the emotions kind of like just the vibrations from the
Yeah.
whale like went through them and then they were coming up to the surface for like just because they just started crying because of the vibration that moves through you. So there is such a power in music, which I also think is really energetic, right? Like, because we can really
So,
feel energy. And I feel like that really corresponds well with music.
yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. And as we as humans, as the idea sort of spreads further that all of these different animals and plants have consciousness, I think actually probably um, one of the ways that strikes us, uh, like, I don't know, like to our body and our brain at one time is to hear their sounds, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, so that's a really interesting. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
jealous. I'm jealous.
I know. One day, like I think it's like I definitely have a bucket list of other animals I want to go see, but I really love what you're doing because not everybody can always go and see these animals in person. So I think things like wildlife photography and videography and then on top of it like this is such a unique perspective of how people can communicate with wildlife and animals and kind of just view them in a different way. And I love the fact that you said something about like sentience because there is something about like that resonates too about the sounds, right? Like they're communicating, like there really is a language there and you're kind of expressing that with
Yeah,
your tale of music.
exactly, exactly. I mean, and the Earth, she has her own resonance too, right? The Schumann
Mhm.
resonance, which also so cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
so and I think that art, all these different forms of art, and especially music, like I'm able to communicate with your conscious and your subconscious at the same time, and I'm also
Mhm.
like communicating with your body, so I'm hoping that the work will, like lighten you up at some level in some way. And that's all we need, right? I mean, any
Right.
sort of small step forward is going to get magnetized just by the, fractal nature of our universe. So um,
Yeah.
it's a really special time to be alive. And like you said, being able to put these things on, like, on the internet. And
Yeah. There's good and bad things, right? But I think that this is where it leans towards one of the good things is like how amazingly unique and creative that like this experience is for people,
mhm,
and then being able to find people that will love and appreciate that on a broader spectrum.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, so so we have the blue whale, we obviously talked about the red wolf. What are some of the other animals that are in this symphony? Or is
Uh,
it a symphony? Did I use the right word?
No, so a
Okay.
symphony is usually a specific type of work that usually has four movements, and it's a yeah, it's its own specific thing. But
Okay.
this
Got it.
but a symphony orchestra will be playing this piece. So
Okay.
so
Cool.
you're mostly right. You're mostly right. So I actually, since orchestras play the original so often, I was like, you know what? Down the road, I'd love for people to be able to mix and match movements. So
Mm.
I took his structure and made my choices uh, inspired by that. So his first movement is the lion, and mine is tiger.
Mm.
And his second movement is hens and roosters. And I'm like, great, we'll do bees and butterflies. We'll get our pollinators in there. Um,
Very cool.
and yeah, and his fifth movement was the elephant. And I'm like, well, that's definitely an animal that's on our radar in a big way right now. So mine's going to
Mhm.
be the elephant too, and that's sort of nice, sort of hinge there. And like instead of his aquarium movement, so movement seven, I have coral,
Wow.
which,
Beautiful.
which is definitely is up there in terms of people's favorite movements. Coral's a big one.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing. I can't wait to hear it.
it,
But continue. Yes.
yeah, no, it's gonna be wild. And I so the final movement. So you may have heard a recording of Yo-Yo Ma playing the Swan. This gorgeous, gorgeous like melody. I mean, it is the last movement of the original, and one of the commissioners of my carnival is an organization called Ocean Music Action, and
Mm.
they have their really incredible chamber music group, and one of their members is from the Silk Road Ensemble, which is one of like Yo-Yo's like ensembles, and um, so Megan, this incredible harpist, she's like, Stephanie, Hawaii is lost more than anybody else because they had so much to begin with, right? And she's like,
Yeah.
what do you think about working with the kahuli snail, which is this
Ooh.
tree snail that used to be in such there used to be so many of them that people would make leis with them.
Wow.
And in folklore, you'll hear all these stories about people walking by the like forests and hearing this eerie sound coming out of the forest. And it's like the forest
Mm.
song. And turns out it was air, like all these tree snails, gorgeous colors, stunning colors, all these tree
Wow.
snails with the wind blowing in their shells.
How cool.
Isn't that
Wow.
isn't that magical? So I'm like, you know what? Okay, we'll do like a nice cello centric movement as to be where the swan movement is. And I literally made this like ambrosial nest of string harmonics for the cello melody. So it's very there's a lot of moonlight in that movement.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really powerful. I can't wait to hear that too. That sounds beautiful. And the thing I think about that is what's also very cool about the music aspect of this is that there's the stories that are being told about what that sounded like, right? And especially since they're like an endangered species, it's very cool to be able to bring that aspect of that to life as well.
Well, then that since you bring that up, I have another good story for you actually.
Yeah.
The I think is it ninth movement? I think it's the ninth movement. Is the ivory-billed woodpecker, and
Oh, I've
this
heard of
this
that.
was
Yeah.
yeah, and this was sort of wild because over the summer let me back up. So it is such a cool engineering problem to have to create an entirely different sound world. And also, one of the special things about this is that I'm really focusing in on a different instrument group and like different sort of set of sonorities from the orchestra. So, like, there's a cello specific movement, there's a French horn, like a movement that features the French horn. I mean,
Each one's
so
highlighted a little. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And so it's this wild engineering problem of okay, you have to tell this animal's story. You have to bring everybody into their world, their sonic sort of energy, and you have to come up with a storyline for them that makes sense. And you got a minute to do all that. Like it
Wow.
has to be like done and sorted in a minute. So, so over the
Yeah, that's a
summer,
lot.
it's and again, it's fun.
It's
So
an
over the
Instagram reel for music.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so over the summer, I'm on my couch listening to like a 1975 recording of the ivory-billed woodpecker, and this is one of the last recordings ever. Um, and it's and I'm just playing it over and over again, being like, what the heck am I gonna do with this? Because it's really difficult to listen to. I mean, it's a woodpecker, right? It was loud and obnoxious, and I'm like, how am I going
Right.
to make art out of this? But like, but like they're gone. It's really, um, uh, and they're so pretty. And my cat Petra comes running in, jumps up, and she'll probably join us later.
Great.
She's very, yeah, she's my second in command, or she's usually the first in command. But so she just plopped herself down on my computer, and she doesn't usually do that. She plopped herself down on my computer and just like stayed there and was so entranced. I'm like, isn't that absolutely just goosebump inducing? I mean, this is species. She's entranced by this woodpecker, and
Right.
it's species talking to each other through time and space. Because not only has he been gone for 50 years, but his entire kind has been gone for 50 years, and yet here Petra, this 3-year-old cat, is experiencing it and having her natural
Yeah.
reaction to this bird. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, and so the solution ended up being uh, trumpets, each one with a different type of mute, and really playing off of the bah, 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 bah sound, and also having the
Right.
cellos and the basses knocking on their instruments, the most resonant parts of their wooden instruments. So you get many different elements of and even doing this really cool gliss. So they pits their string like this string, and they gliss up at the same time that the pits is resonating. So it's just like boom, boom, like bugs jumping.
Right.
So
Ooh.
it's yeah. So it's a it's a fun and really the quirky, fun movement. I mean, there's a lot of dark humor in my work. I mean, I know not like every piece is a psychological thriller, but I really enjoy yeah, some plot twists.
Yeah, wait, so I was gonna ask you too. So the cellos you were saying, like you have
Yeah.
them banging on like the biggest portion. Is that like a typical movement like in like do people usually add that if they're composing, or is that kind of like a unique thing that you're doing?
It's one of these things that is used more and more. I mean, an extended technique, but it's been around for like decades. So it's
Right.
not like using it's not yeah, not anything too new,
That
but a
sure.
lot of times these extended techniques are most often seen in like solo or chamber music, and so getting to have a whole forest of instruments be doing all this, like that's a really cool uh, opportunity to use that technique.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's cool. I love that. It's because the focus too of it being on animals and I think when I think of like, an orchestra playing, it's usually with like an acted out event. So it's cool to have it being sort of like, oh, okay, like and it's also you're trying to match a specific sound too, which is also unique, you know?
exactly, and also it's most pieces will have a much smaller set of sound worlds,
Mm.
color sets to be working with. And so here I had a lot of room to play with. And so I really was able to bring out all of these like tricks I'd been like all of these colors in my paint palette that I've been collecting since I was very young. And this was such a perfect excuse to be able to use yeah, a lot of these things that I'd held for the right time, and this is very much the right time.
Wow, that's really cool. And
Yeah.
is that the last piece, the I rebuild woodpecker, or it keeps going, right?
Um,
Because
okay, yeah, let me tell you. Okay, so the third movement is the polar bear movement,
oh
and
wow.
that's this really slow string elegy that has a super haunting, very high bassoon solo. And this is actually the conductor's favorite movement of the
Cool.
Peter Askham. And I, so I worked with my incredible, I call her the poet in residence of my heart. Her name is Jessica Lynn Sushon, and she wrote poems that are going to be essentially narrated before each of the different movements. And this is
Beautiful.
again a reference to the original. Camille's piece had narration added to it way after. That's very like sing song and childish. And so I'm like, Jessica, we're gonna do something profound here. And her prose is just unreal. I mean, I'm excited to hear what you think of it, but um,
Yeah.
we we talked a lot about making sure that the polar bear movement had a lot of horizontal vastness in the music and in the
Mm,
poetry, and that the buffalo movement would have a lot of vertical vastness.
mm.
So yeah, and there's this one part, well, in the opening of Polar Bears, the strings are playing their melody and they reach up to this high point and then they gliss down just slightly. And your brain, like, sort of, if you aren't expecting it, your brain sort of schisms for a second. And I don't know, it's like, is it ice melting? Is it ice sparkling? Like,
Mm.
it's, but yeah, so that's the third movement. Fourth movement is the hawksbill turtle, which
Cool.
yeah, and of course their shells are gorgeous, which is also why, they're on this list. And
Right.
that one is that one's just very, very, very fun. I mean that's one of like the groovy movements,
Oh,
orchestra,
that's cool.
like they'll be smiling and fifth movement is the elephant. And I was I mean, again, like the whole process of doing this research and writing the piece was just like a series of miracles, one after the other. And I'll get to more of those as we go through the stories, but
Yeah.
also just so many tears. And one of these stories that absolutely just knocked me over was when I was doing deep dives on the elephant and hearing this story of this man who had spent a lot of time with a herd of elephants, and he had lived. I forget if he was a photographer or not, or just like a caretaker in this space, but he lived like 12 hours away from where they actually were, and he passed away suddenly one day and fairly recently, and the next morning his wife opens the front door and the entire herd is on her front lawn.
Oh,
And and that's one of these parts where, you know, my brain breaks open and I am re-reminded for the upteenth time how wildly more connected we are than we think we are. And how we're
yeah.
all very much electromagnetic beings sending out our thoughts and our feelings into the world just as loudly as our voices if we, you know,
Wow. It's
and
a really beautiful sentiment. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
yeah, so that's so essentially I focused on the bass for that one, which is also again a little bit of a reference to Camille's piece, but um I start with the bass, a solo in the bass, and almost like this chant melody. And then I bring
Mm.
in the cellos and I bring in the violas and then the violins, gradually, sort of like bringing the whole family together. And I figured out how to make cicada sounds.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
so neat.
it's
Wow.
super cool. It's super cool. And I'm from Michigan, and so I'm like Okay, I'm going to put cicadas in every piece from now on. Like that's like I love that sound. Like that sound is in my
I can't wait
bones.
to hear it. I'm very excited because the I love the sound of the night, especially in the summer when you go out in the summer and you hear them all over and mixed in with the bats, and I could sit out there for hours just like listening to it. Yeah.
It's one of nature's most beautiful drones. Yeah, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, antiphonal egg shakers. So yeah, that's one of those moments where you get the audience being like, because again, you're not quite sure where it's coming from, but like your body knows that sound.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so okay, and then sixth movement is the Black Rhino movement, and Jessica and I we decided that like the big storyline there was going to be their their charge because that's just one of these wild capabilities of this animal, and that highlights very low French horn. It's very that one's very grounded, very yeah. Anyways, I think we got the right colors there. But yeah, and then seventh movement is choral, and for the high point of that, I mean, each movement, one movement's like very much like a dance, another movement's like very much a, lullaby, like the kuhuli, the snail movement. It's like that's a
Yeah.
lullaby. And
Hmm.
the choral movement is very much my prayer. And
Hmm.
at the climax of that movement, I actually have, and again, you'll see this, but I borrowed because again, like I put layers of symbolism into absolutely everything. I do
Yeah.
absolutely everything, and I put in the whistle that my dad and actually my grandfather would use. Like if you're like in Costco and you need to summon the whole family, and you do this woo like
Yep.
da-da, and I'm like, you know what? I bet I could make gorgeous music out of that. And so, sure enough, that's like the high point of the entire piece. That prayer is literally a summoning together of the family, all of us.
Wow. Yeah, of like planet Earth, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Yes,
cool.
indeed. Um, and then the eighth movement, that's the blue whale movement. And have
Mhm.
you heard of the loneliest whale in the world?
Oh, I have, but tell for
Okay.
people that haven't heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So she
Hello, Wild Ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I have some exciting news. This April 2026, me and Dr. Carla Ionescu are taking a couple of lucky people to Greece this year. It is going to be about the goddess Artemis. So, all about the goddess of the wilderness, the forest. We're going to be doing amazing things like exploring her ancient sites where she's worshipped, like Broron and Eleusis, Patras, and a couple of other places, as well as doing archery and claymaking. So I hope that you're enjoying this episode. Check out the link in the description for more information, and we would love to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Hi, Wild Ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. This episode is sponsored by my clothing brand, Femme Sauvage, and you can find a discount code and link in the description. So check it out. We have a lot of amazing designs, and $5 of the proceeds goes to different charities. So please feel free to check it out and enjoy the rest of the episode. Thanks so much.
is this whale that we've been tracking since like 1989, and her migration path is that of, we're pretty sure, the blue whale, but she's never in the same place at the same time with anybody else. And also, whales in general have had to keep using lower and lower frequencies to talk to each other, to hear each other through the ship noise. So they have to keep on going like under and under. And she's still stuck way up here at 52 hertz.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I was like, okay, we are going to symbolically bring her to everybody else. And
Mhm.
I decided to the work begins very slowly because the work is at a quarter note equals 37, which is the blue whale heartbeat tempo when they're at the surface. So when they're
Wow.
in communication with us.
Wow.
Their heartbeat goes down to like 2 to 10 beats per minute, like down below. But so yeah, and I have everybody begin on, or the lowest voices of the orchestra begin on a very low G sharp, which is her pitch. And then
Wow.
I build it up to this big crescendo, and then I bring in everybody on, the other whales pitches so that we can sort of bring them together. And uh, yeah, big, wild moment there. But that was, yeah, again, one of these moments where it's in the evening in the summer, and my windows are open and it's hot and muggy, and I'm at my piano, and all of a sudden I realize that I can do that I can have her resonance resonating through our bodies. Like I can bring her to everybody through
Yeah.
that way. And then again, that's another one of these like, like,
I
yeah,
feel like another
astronaut.
connector, right? Like another
Yeah,
connector moment, like you were
yeah,
saying, is that like through the music and like the energy and sound, how even like the elephants knew and resonated, like maybe somehow through that push and through the airwaves, maybe she'll feel that. I really believe
right.
in energy
Oh,
and pushing that out there.
yeah. Oh, 1,000%, 1,000%. And I love that you brought that up. Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's incredibly powerful. And actually one of the best moments of serendipity through this whole thing. I mean, again, I was like, I mean, this is such a huge project, and pretty early on, I'm like, okay, I will trust my intuition. Whatever I feel like feeling like pulled towards, I'll just go ahead and say yes. You know, and sure enough, I knew that I wanted to use the water phone, which is this really cool like steel instrument, and it looks like a wine carafe, or like the aerator. I'm forgetting what.
Yep. Yeah, my
Yeah,
husband
yeah.
uses that a lot.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Gotta aerate your red wine.
Yep. Yeah.
And but they're like these like metal spikes welded to the outside, and they're in this very cool microtonal scale, so eerie.
Mm.
And you put water inside it, and then you bow the outside with a bass bow, and
Ooh.
it makes the wildest sounds. And this was one of these things that I'm like, I'm gonna keep this in my pocket, in my
Mm.
paint palette until, and you can see, I mean, I have synesthesia. I make rainbows out of everything in my life. Like I really love color. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep this color,
Love
use
that.
it.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to use it somewhere in this movement. And I felt pulled towards this one YouTube video, and I'm like, this is like an hour long. I don't have time for this. But I'm like, okay, fine. I'll do it. And sure enough, at the end of the video, this guy was talking about this instrument, and he was like, by the way, it's been used to summon whales off the shores of Long Island. Yeah. Yep. And
What?
I'm like, okay, what? And sure enough, looked it up. Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Isn't
Well,
that
first of all, since we're so close together, we're gonna have to go do that one day.
yes. Yeah, yeah, then we'll have our whale movement. But
Then we'll have our well moment. Yeah. Wow. That's
yeah,
so
yeah,
cool. Like another like way of how like when like I feel like I call those things downloads, right? Like you were saying that you got this project and it just was like, okay, I have to do this. I felt that
yeah,
way with like my podcast and everything like that. It was like something that I was like, oh no, I have to do this. Like
yeah,
and when something is brought to you by the universe, and it's just
yep,
amazing how you pick up and you recognize like, oh, okay, I had to listen to this hour-long video, but there was such a little jewel at the end. Like, this is exactly what is going to fit perfect with this piece.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Very cool.
downloads. I call them
Yeah.
downloads too. And yeah, and these, I'm sure your podcast also is like a high bandwidth, very quick download. Like there's no spinning wheel there. Um,
Right.
But, but yeah, so that's the blue whale movement. And then we already talked about the ivory-billed woodpecker.
Right.
And then after that, we have the passenger pigeon, and this is one of these
Uh,
wild stories. Really um, a cautionary tale. The last passenger pigeon to exist, her name was Martha, and I believe she passed away in 1912. And passenger pigeons, like in the Wild West, they were all over the place, and their Latin name literally means like traveler, because there'd just be this
mm,
like in these hundreds of millions flocks, hundreds of millions in size, and they would just fly into a space, eat up everything, poop everywhere. I mean, like the next year was like a bumper crop for the farmers. So, but it was,
wow.
and they would fly off. But it was terrifying because the sky would completely blacken, like absolutely pitch dark, and nobody knew what was going on. And
Mm.
actually during the rehearsals for the premiere, I'm like, you know what? I bet Alfred Hitchcock knew about the passenger pigeon for his
For
birds
birds,
movie.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because there are all these stories of ranchers grabbing guns and just like shooting at them, and that's ultimately what happened. I mean, they were served on trains. I mean, like everybody
Yeah.
ate them, but they went from hundreds and hundreds of millions to Martha in an incredibly short span of time. I think I think it was something like 20 years.
Wow.
But
It's quick.
I think it's even less.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for this one, I was like, okay, I I was like, Jessica, I want us to be really honing in on this element of danger
Mm.
here. And so sure enough, I start this with a really low, rumbly bass drum. And that's one of these drums where I mean, like the resonance is so low, you feel it before you hear it. Like you will
Ooh.
feel it even if you are not hearing it. Um,
Right. And that's
and
kind of what danger does too. So that's really cool, right? Like, and the feelings and the resonance of like how that feels in your body, and you're,
yeah, yeah,
relaying that to the audience.
yeah, yeah. Again, yeah, that's a psychological thriller.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, full experience. And then I gradually bring in the basses and then the cellos, and then all of a sudden it explodes, and it's like this whole flock coming out of nowhere. And actually, if you look at the score, the notes themselves on the score pages look like a flock of birds taking off,
Oh, wow.
which is
Everything is
really,
tying together very nicely.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool. And actually, in the bees and butterfly movement, there's the ending ends with this lovely little duet in the woodwinds, and their curve makes it look like a butterfly. So, anyways,
Very
these
cool.
things are all I had a lot of fun with this piece, but yeah, and so the passenger pigeons, and that's where we have our big, huge trumpet solo. Um, but yeah, so that's that movement, and gosh, what's next? Oh, then we have the Gray Wolf,
Uh,
and
love that.
yeah, and Jessica actually told me a few years ago, when we were working on a different piece, she's like, Stephanie, I've been doing a lot of research on smaller deities and werewolves, and women are the real werewolves. Like we're the ones who get this crazy power surge, with the full moon, and I
Yeah.
love right, and I love that thought, and we both very much felt like that movement needs to be, well, that movement and the Red Wolf movement needed to be in jewel tones.
Mm.
But so there's a lot of like gray and purple in the Gray Wolf movement, and the featured, our soloist is the viola, which also I feel in those colors, and it's super super haunting, and also has this very like 4-bar structure. So there's also this symbolism all over the place, and we we wanted to make sure that there was enough of a difference between the Gray Wolf and the Red Wolf, but
Right. So
still
that they were
connect
unique.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, still connecting them. So the melody that you have in the Grey Wolf, super super lonesome and uh very very yeah dramatic and yeah, like ultimately it's a little bit sad, that movement. Um, so as we have that, I sped up and augmented that melody, and essentially, I mean, I had to work with the like some bluegrass stuff, essentially like
Oh
gave the Red
yeah.
Wolf a hoedown. Because I mean I'm Scottish. I one of my favorite summers ever growing up was playing fiddle tunes on my violin. Like
Oh,
and teachers
I
like we're
love,
gonna
I
sing.
love, yeah,
Yeah.
my family is from Ireland, and there's something so beautiful about those fiddle tunes that are really homey to me. Like anytime I put them on, it just feels like really special and like homey. So I really love that.
Yeah. 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 Well, it's like, I know, I guess that's one of these things, how much is buried in our genes? Is it a,
Right.
proclivity towards climate? I mean, I definitely felt, something different when I was in like the climate of Scotland, this one time. But I wonder if yeah, there must be also some sensitivity to where you'd think maybe there's a proclivity
Right.
towards
Yeah,
different
that
harmony.
like resonates in your like soul, in your bones, like your ancestors kind of feel it through you, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure there is. And again, with all these things, it's exciting to see science start to be able to prove all these things that we've sort of felt all along.
Totally.
Um,
Yeah.
but, uh, but yeah, so the Red Wolf movement is a riotous 4 minute like hoedown. And, uh, when I first sent it to the conductor, he wrote back, he's like, "Oh my gosh, this slaps." Like it's like this is a and yeah, yeah, no, yeah, she slaps. She slaps. And also
Love that.
again, like the more we understand about also our own like what we as humans actually need to be in good health, like the sense of community and also even how important it is like how good dancing is for our lymphatic systems. And
Yeah,
so
movement, right? Like the embodiment is what they call it nowadays, you know?
yeah, yeah. And so to see, oh, the Red Wolf literally like they have this very dancing nature and they're so social. And um so yeah, so I'm like, okay, great, sorted. We got our storylines here. And actually that uh every single annotation in the Red Wolf movement, so these are like little bits of like poetic instruction that I put at the beginning of like each section of the music. So that might be
Mhm.
every few seconds or like, 2 times a minute, there'll be one of these places where things shift and I'll be like, okay, uh, like doused in moonlight or ambrosial. Like that's one of the ones in the snails. And so for Red Wolf, I only used terms that were different shades of red and different shades of green because also I loved that. I mean, like North Carolina, so lush. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. Like so
Yeah,
lush,
it's
so much
gorgeous.
green. Yeah, and so I'm like, great. I love that these are the opposite, these colors are opposite each other, but
Right.
also we have such, integral pairing of the two in that species and its environment. And so we're going to just really celebrate that. So um, yeah, got out my, what, like Carmine, Carmine's in there. Yeah.
Wow. And I also love, first of all, there's a couple of things I really love about that. It's going to be very bluegrassy because I should tell the audience is that we connected through my friend Aspen, who she's a wildlife photographer and guide in Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge, which is like the only place in the world to see wild red wolves. Um, uh, Unless you're thinking there is a small population of half coyote, half red wolves that are in Galveston, Texas. But for the purpose of this, and I'm going to meet her this weekend, and it just so happened that it coordinated, and I feel very honored and lucky that it coordinated that we'll be there the same weekend as your lovely performance. So, yeah, but what I was going to say was with the bluegrassy thing and through her photos and videos of watching the red wolves is they're very bouncy, you know, and kind of similar because coyotes kind of do that too, that kind of like bouncy because they're looking for the little rodents and stuff. So I feel like it's very lively, so it makes sense with how you're describing the piece being kind of like that a little perked upness that's reminds me of
Yeah,
bluegrass,
that
you know.
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I hope it'll be, yeah. And actually, one of the really lovely things is that, well, Aspen, right? Like the Red Wolf Whisperer, like to have her be there, it's such an honor. And it's so, I don't know. I pinch myself every day that I get to do something I love so much about, you know, this world I love so much, and it gets to bring me to people like you and Aspen. I mean, like it's, you know,
yeah,
my nerd factor is through the roof right now, and Aspen's photos are, we're going to do a carousel of some of her photos of those red wolves during that movement. So everybody will be
wonderful.
like hand introduced to these guys. Yep.
Yeah,
And
sounds so spectacular. I'm so excited. I remember when she called me and she was like, you know, I hope that you guys are like, you know, I really want to do it. I'm like, oh, hell yes. That is like so unique and special and cool. So, yeah, it's just so amazing.
and uh and we decided to wear head to toe red. I mean, that's what I was going to do anyways. I love dressing up to like match the hall or match something. I feel like it's the
Same.
response, like it's the reverent thing to do. And also I love, you know, have any dress up was my favorite game as a kid.
Oh,
So
same.
you
Yeah,
are
I got a
very
nice fancy red
welcome
dress
to.
because yeah, I'm
Good.
very excited to dress up.
Awesome. And I just got a photo from the orchestra, and the step and repeat just arrived. Now this is a huge, you know, like at red carpets, how you'll be in front of this huge like step and repeat. So
Yep.
uh, I was like, we need to have something in the lobbies for audiences to take pictures with, so they can take pictures of all the animals. And so there's this incredible collage that my other like sister in artistic embodiment, Sasha Parfanova, this unbelievable visual artist from Boston. Uh, she made like the pieces collage, so, or the collage to go with the piece. So it has all of the different animals, and yeah,
Wonderful.
and so it's going to be on this huge step and repeat, so we can all take photos with each other and
Oh, I'm so
the
excited.
animals. Yeah, yeah. So
That's the
it'll be,
perfect visual since we're hearing all of it, right? So it's nice to have just that little bit of well, you're gonna have visual stuff like you said through it. So there is that. But it's still fun. I always like a good step and
it's still
repeat.
fun.
It'll
And
be
again,
great.
that's
Yeah.
also that, like that's part of the thing, right? I mean, I left my ex-fiance 3 years ago, and I'm like, you know what? I am going to take absolutely every opportunity to have fun. Like, what am I waiting for? And so a huge
Yeah.
part of this project was sort of injecting all of the things I love into it. And so this was one of those things. Like, let's give folks a real reason to dress up, and let's, I mean, I think also, you know, one of these things we've lost is celebration and ritual. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, we're here to celebrate. And I know that there's so much activism that is, and sometimes necessarily, is very much uh, dealing with like shame and anger and antagonism, and like there's a lot of ugliness, but I mean, there's some ugly things there's a lot of ugly
Discuss.
things
It's just
that
it's
yeah,
hard for
to be
people to
reacting.
sit in that space. You know, I understand what you're saying. It's hard
Yeah,
for people to sit
yeah,
in that
yeah. And
space.
so
Yeah.
yeah, and but we know that those emotions are base level emotions, low vibration emotions, you know, shrinking emotions. And so I'm like, okay, what's the highest space I can get people into. Okay, it's inspiration and empowerment and love and, smiles. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
joy. And
Yeah.
um, actually, somebody uh, in with the Bozeman Symphony, one of our panels we had during the premiere of Carnival itself, not Red Wolf, but Carnival, a few weeks ago. They said, "When do you know when a piece is done?" And
Mm.
and I actually hadn't had an answer for it, but I thought for a second, I'm like, when I'm experiencing joy at every single moment of the piece, then I know it's done. So
Yeah.
yeah, gotta bring the party. Yeah.
And you know what I love about that too, like talking about like emotions and uh and rest in peace Jane Goodall, and all of the amazing work that she did, but one of the biggest things that she advocated for was to, try to help people to feel more with their heart, like towards conservation. So I think that there's
Oh
something
yeah, yeah.
really powerful about, because people get inundated with facts and things. And I think that those are really good and people do need to hear that. But we need a balance too of like, things that move us and move our heart, right? And how we feel. And there's nothing, better than music, right? I mean, there's like we go through so many emotions and when we hear a certain song, like, we really feel it through our bodies. So being able to take that and resonate it and showcase conservation in that way, I think is such a beautiful and magnificent thing that you're doing.
Yeah, well, it's thank you. And yeah, exactly. It's like people are going to make decisions for financial reasons and for emotional reasons.
Yeah.
And we can definitely help with one of those. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, like, it's just introducing two different friends. Might be different species, but meet my friend the passenger
Exactly.
pigeon.
And
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
never heard of that snail before. And, obviously, like, I'm an animal lover. So it's just a cool thing. Like, you never know, like, what kind of information you're going to get and you're going to learn too, even just from this.
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, there's so many other species that I considered, and it was really hard to make all these choices. But I'm hoping eventually that other orchestras may decide to do something like the Raleigh Civic Symphony did, which is to um, commission an extra movement for whatever their local endangered animal is, so that as long as I have
Cool.
time in my schedule to do that, um, these are these are life energy giving
Of course.
projects.
Yeah.
It's like I'm still recovering from writing Carnival. The It'd be really special to have this piece be an ever evolving tome of these animals. And again,
Yeah.
ultimately, what is it? It's celebrating. It's taking the time and resources to take time to celebrate as a community. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. As you say that, I think another cool one would be if maybe you could do somewhere in like Washington or Oregon, the endangered southern resident killer whales. I For my clothing brand, I actually donate some of the proceeds towards the animals that are on that design. So I have an orca design, and $5 sold of all of those items goes towards the Orca Conservancy, and they have hydrophones as well that go in the water and listen to the orcas and try to showcase them. So and they're so vocal and beautiful sounding too, so I can only imagine how much fun you could have with that piece.
That's a really okay. That's a I will tuck that thought away. That's a really good idea. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also again, like that brings it up, like everybody, everywhere, all these different communities, we all, for better for worse, we all have some animal that's local that
Yeah.
we should probably be sending love to. And again, when you're in a room with 1,000 people taking the time to listen to this animal, like that's a lot of energy in one place. That's a lot of,
Yeah.
it's hard to connect the dots unless we put them all together. And this is, a whole pyramid of dots.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
Anyway,
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope that this keeps expanding too, because I mean, I would love to see, I love the creativity of it, and how your mind works creating, and connecting all these different things in this way. So, I can only imagine all the other cool animals, and I can't wait to see it all in person. I know it's going to be really spectacular. So I'm really honored again to be involved and to be able to go and listen and see it.
well, thank you. It's so special to be able to begin all this, with this real, big interview with you. It's yeah, precisely the home for this and my work in general. So I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Yeah, when I first heard that, I was like, this is so cool. I just, every time I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, this is so cool. So I'm really excited to experience that. And, so are there any other times that this is going to be playing, or is it just in Raleigh?
So there are a bunch of other performances, and there's a lot of things in the works that I'm very crazy excited about, and it's wild. I can't say it now
No problem.
yet,
Yeah.
but I will say that this incredible organization, Ocean Music Action, who has, I mean, they're members, members from Silk Road Ensemble and members from the Knights Orchestra, which is the orchestra in residence at Carnegie Hall. Like they actually ended up getting this huge residency at the Atlantic Center for the Arts with an incredible choreographer, John Higginbotham, and Greg Corbino, who's his puppets are wild. I mean, he's done some really wild ecological puppet situations, like
Cool.
taking an endangered fish and making like a huge like Viking-sized ship out of it and like sailing it down the Hudson. I mean, like this.
Wow.
So there's going to be a ballet. Like there's already one ballet in so, and that's gonna get toured, and so yeah, but even the Dexter community orchestra that is right down the street from where I grew up, like that's one of the people involved.
Wow.
Yeah, anyways, bunch of yeah, so there's a lot of other things going on, but yeah, really special to
Exciting.
have North
Very
Carolina
cool.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really, really looking forward to it. And where can people like find you, connect with you, keep a lookout for any future exciting things happening?
Absolutely. Find me on the socials, Stephanie Ann Boyd, and my website is stephanieannboyd.com. And Carnival itself, like the page where you can learn about it, and also I people can still, like, orchestras can still be involved. I mean, it's a 3-year project, so orchestras can still sign on to be a commissioner if they want to. And that's at stephanieannboyd.com/carnival. And again, this is one of these things. It's not about exclusivity; it's about inclusivity. So I'm like even one of the most incredible high school orchestras in the country in Illinois, New Trier High School, is a commissioner. So I really, with all my big consortiums, I
Beautiful.
really try to be working with folks from all over, because that's how you
Yeah.
reach folks from all over. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah,
next generation,
good.
and just like, doing something that's like beautiful. And I hope that so many people go to see it, because it's really something that's so unique and beautiful, and honestly so creative. Like, talking to you and like hearing how your mind works is really cool and special, and it's only making me look forward to it even more. So I'm very excited about that. And I'll make sure to link all of your links and socials and everything that like that in the description below, so people can easily access and find you. But thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast, and I can't wait to meet you in person so soon. Um,
My
yeah.
pleasure, Janet. Yeah, I can't wait to give you a big old hug.
Yes, I'm very excited. And it's cool that we're both from New York too. So another little hats off to that. Yes. So
It's
thank you
perfect.
so much, Wild Ones, for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Revel in the moment like a river flowing to the sea. I feel the energy of life force flowing all through me, and I'll allow it all to dance with my body and play. And no one could ever convince me to give my power away.